Hello! Can everybody hear me over there in the chat? We are about to begin. I am so sorry for the eternal void. um, we'll start soon, as in right now. Everyone is here. Alright. We're gonna present our cast of crew of people in this beautiful chat on this beautiful little state. We have Birdie, who is basically one of our trooper background artists. Say hello to everybody
Hi.
who can.
Hi, I draw the night things in the background. I go Bob Ross on everything.
Then there is Goblin, our Dolorosa artist, and a resident a resident amazeballs. And
I'm the
Mob.
resident enemy of the state.
Yeah.
I will make you pee your pants. Thank you.
Like Milo, who is our psionic writer. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I'm making it Top Goblin's intro, but I'll also make you pee your pants. Thank you.
Me, I am the head mod slash moderator of this channel, and I am also the psionic artist. Then there is Queen, who is the mod and a dual score artist. There is nothing to do with that. Don't read into it.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hello.
Rainy, our musician for everyone. I mean, psionic, and silence so far.
Yep.
More
So
to
far.
come.
So
Yeah.
far, more to come. Raspberry Sheep, our silence artist.
Hello. I'm not really sure what to say. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
loud
good.
and clear.
Yeah. Reef, who is our disciple writer and also our our volume person who does the titles. Funny enough.
Yeah, I'll pee your pants.
Oh no. And then Robbie, who is our signless writer. So you get all questions about that.
Hello, I would like to quote our friend the Signless and say no one will pee anyone's pants. Peace and love, remember?
But what if love is peeing each other's pants? There is Salty and our disciple artist that came in clutch last second.
Yeah. Salty either.
I can't believe Salty's dead.
They're having some issues.
It's fine.
Okay.
Well, they're still there. And
They're there.
TV who collaborated with this amazing guitar riff that you hear on the silence. On the
Hello.
silence theme.
Hello?
Hello.
And also Whis, who is the Dark Leader writer, has also nothing to do with it. Don't read into it. It's just jokes. He's in a sewer right now.
There belongs. Method writing.
It's okay. It's fine. All right, guys. We're gonna start with the speed run of the game. Let's go with the Rosa and start even anything you guys want to take over out of your hearts right now before we begin. Anything.
Straight in the inner circle, man.
Yeah.
I think Dolorosa's pretty neat. I'll just say that.
Dolorosa fan cam.
That's what we're playing right now.
Yeah, this is a Dolorosa fan cam, guys. Sorry, I have tricked you all. There is nothing else here. All right. I do have some questions for before we start playing. This is like a couple of questions to the Dolorosa team. First of all, and it's probably the funniest one. Can I marry the Dolorosa? Says Anonymous.
Are you a woman or lesbian? If the answer is yes, yes. Also, you have to be of age, please. But um, because Dolorosa was both written and drawn by lesbians. So, not to speak for the people, but also to speak for the people, Dolorosa is a lesbian. She is lesbian coded the entire time. If you see her as otherwise, that's fine. This version's a lesbian. That's all I'm gonna say.
You must be a financially independent lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
Alright, that is actually funny enough. The only direct question to the Dolorosa team is like Glavel in the Curious Cat. Dolorosa team, can I marry Dolorosa? Alright, let's see where we can stop. Yeah, so you cannot marry Dolorosa, you are broke. I am so sorry about that. You're broke. No, not gonna work. Alright, let's get to the game. Where is our first stop? Haha, just kidding. All of our notes say at any point. So, let's start. Alright, here is a fun fact about the Dolorosa. When I started calling this route, I kinda had an issue with the quirk, and it will separate words, meat, anything. So, what I'm saying is, if the Dolorosa quirk is hard, it's hard for you to read. Imagine how hard it was for me to code. I had to ask 2 people for that to work, and one of them is not here, which is a tragedy. He said to say hi, and the other one didn't send me notes, so that's fine. We have Dolorosa on the screen right now. If any other artists or writers will say anything, even though Dolorosa writer isn't here right now, technically. Yet, soon, maybe. They are sleeping, probably. I am sorry.
Oh, right, they're in New Zealand. Party rock. I got nothing to say about the Dolorosa other than I had to speedrun her holding that grub. That was like a one-day mission of like, oh god, I have to draw her holding Signless? And I, draw grubs really weird, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna swaddle this thing. You get to see very little.
But what you see matters.
Yeah, what you see is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything you see matters.
Yeah.
It matters. And then she starts vibrating.
Yeah, the vibration.
It's funny as shit. And the glow that I am slapping. I kind of have to apologize for some of the stuff in the first part of the round because it was a big thing for everybody. Yeah. And then get the hell out of there. Whee! Let's see. Choices, because there are very clear choices. Yeah. The original version of the game used to have a very, violent, teleporting look to it. But after some feedback, thanks Alienoid, and Robin, I kind of sorted it out. So it's more easier to the eyes and it's not going to kill your eyes anymore. There is a lot of, stuff that I've been taking into account. Even if I sound unhappy, I am not. I'm actually very glad that everybody has been playing to the game and giving feedback to it. So we kind of smooth it out as perfect as possible. Speaking as perfect as possible, where is she? There she is. So we're speedrunning into this round.
Ma'am. Yeah, gets down on one knee. I should say that she could have been, if anybody knows my art style, she could have been way buggier. It would have. The reason I chose the Dolorosa, honestly, among other reasons, was that I covered most of her body with clothing, so you didn't have to deal with all of my bug designs. I was like, okay, you don't have to see the hands, you don't have to see, the antenna, shit like that, and so,
they can just not look.
Yeah, and then I still got comments about it, but it par for the course. Also, big knife.
Yeah, big knife.
That she just deserves a big knife. That's all I'm gonna say. I think it looks hot. Again, another reference to sword lesbians, I guess, and a reference to. Well, it's what do you? I was gonna give her I was thinking about her with big garden shears, but then I didn't want to get it to like to kill a kill e. You know how it be. So big knife.
Our Dolorosa writer seems to be awake now. We're gonna wait. We're gonna keep playing for a little bit, and then welcome them when they come in. So.
Yes.
Also, fun fact, I think everybody loves the fact that this MSPR reader has like emojis on the text. That is fucking cute. That is just me.
It's very cute.
I don't know, guys. Can I just hot mom is very mean. So it'd be like that sometimes.
So they're just spamming the chat with that.
Oh yeah, the reason we're kind of speed running this is because these routes are very long and we have to cram 4 routes in 2 hours.
I mean, give it up to the ancestor fandom. One time and time again, we prove that we care too much and we want to talk too much about these characters.
I just want to say, Robin here, so I'm not commenting on this route too much, but I want to give a big thank you to like the coding team for dealing with us writers. Because I think we all collectively just accidentally went apeshit, and you guys rose to that.
You guys should see our group chat sometime. It's like 3 novels long every time.
Literally.
And I want to.
There's an inner circle group chat actually that I'm sure is going to come up again because the 4 of us realized that we impact each other's characters so much that we needed to know what was going on in the other's lives, like before we wrote our scripts.
Which is a pretty good idea, honestly. These roots have to be connected, well, not directly, but in a sense. So they are part of the same universe. I'm actually glad you guys did that. It's a very good call. And it does allow the routes to feel like they're all like, these are all people who love each other so much, and it's again family clade feelings to it. God damn. Perfectly balanced all seems to be. You're right, Bearded. You're right.
That is a good 27 teacups. That is a good point. Yeah, it is interesting how the inner circle is the first to go because everything from here is different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not to say anything, but like the high bloods are gonna come in later are damn. God damn. See, don't read into anything. Don't read into the emojis chat. There is nothing to see here. There is no reveals. No one is coming next. The game is over. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, we just decided to call it quits while we were ahead, you know?
It's like this is actually our closing party. I am very sorry.
Yeah.
These all jokes, please don't take
This is jokes, yeah. Please don't leave us. We have lots to tell you yet.
Yeah. But I think it was very important to start with the Dolorosa. Just because, I think she's commonly looked over, because it's always the story of the Signless, but it's like, without the Dolorosa, he would be fucking dead. He would be a small brown stain.
Also, our Dolorosa writer just entered the call. See?
Hey!
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's quite early for me. I'm very sorry, guys. I had 10 different alarms set up, and it did not go down very well for me.
Well, we're glad you're here.
I'm very glad to be here. I'm so sorry. Let me just catch up on how we are doing.
We're in the middle of the Dolorosa route right now, so you're welcome to say whatever you want.
Hello. I love her. That is the thing I think I should open up with. I have been a big old fan of the Dolorosa for about 5 years now. I've been role-playing her and writing her for about 5 years. so I've had far too much time to think about her. She's kind of epic. I'm sorry, that's not good commentary.
No, that's great commentary.
No, she's great. With this route especially, I liked to focus on this idea of the Dolorosa not as a character who sort of as her own character, separate from her family and separate from this idea of her exclusively just being the mother, like in quotation marks there. Because quite often, especially when I started out writing the Dolorosa, a lot of the things you would see for her were things like almost like a Fanon Kanaya, where she would be meek and soft and doting and hardly had any character of her own. And I thought that sucked, and I didn't like it because it didn't make sense for sort of for Alternia. It didn't make sense for how anyone should survive on Alternia, and it just I don't know. It just kind of, I spent a lot of time putting these characteristics into her that made her feel like she could actually survive on Alternia. So, where are we?
No, that's great.
So,
We're before the first the first actual of the route choice
decision.
Yeah, decision. Sorry, I don't know English. My bad. I've been tricking you all. I'm actually pantomiming English, and my computer is understanding the pantomime. So if it stutters, it's because I'm hesitating. All right, it's the first, and then let's go to the bad route first, and if there is anything to get out of there. Otherwise, I'm just gonna press the speed button, and we're gonna just run through it. We do have to. We have to get through silence as well. So, it's not necessary to tie up the commentary to what we're saying. So, I mean, the commentary to what we're looking at the screen. So, you want to say anything about the Dolorosa, just pour your heart out. I know you want to. I know everybody here wants to. So, it's on the team.
She is wonderful, and I love her. Just speaking on the choices, though, there was a deliberate choice in having her take so long to actually get to choices, and the fact that your choices feel very... as you play through the route, you will note that the choices that are actually the better choices are those that where you don't act and where you don't have a massive impact on her life. And that's because I feel like she is very self-directed, and it mentions that in the dialogue where it says, like, where it's in the internal dialogue, where it says something about her being, very self-directed, this entire little adventure or some shit. And that was very deliberate, because in my head, the Dolorosa would be a character who fears actually sort of any control being taken from her. And you, as a character who has massive influence over the narrative, would freak her the fuck out. So when she's here and she's angry at you for deciding to look away, it's her being angry that, she hasn't had much choice in all of her life, because being in the cabins, you don't get a lot. And sorry, I'm reading the chat. Her being angry is that she hasn't had a lot of choice, and the cabins don't really give you a lot of choice, because you are stuck and you are kind of forced into this role of being, whatever the Empire wants you to be. And yes, maybe you are a useless piece of shit. That delightful... Sorry, I'm still half asleep. The phrase useless piece of shit came from one of my wonderful, wonderful friends. And he is hilarious and delightful and helped me write some of this. And I would love to plug his Twitter and another person's Twitter probably at the end of this, because they're both hilarious and made sure that this route flowed quite well. Right, sorry. So, anyways, Rosa doesn't like having her choices taken from her, and you, as a character with a lot of influence over the plot, do that. So, every time you kind of forcefully take her life away from her, she will have a bad ending. And that is what happened in her actual life. So, Teehee, Rose's biggest fear is having no control. And that's how her life ended. Sorry, ancestors are sad.
Yeah. If you think any of this is going to be happy,
You made a fucky wucky.
Maybe if you're a Conda stan, but I mean, other than that.
If you're a Conda, I mean, me too, though. I hate it. I hate loving her.
In theory, being a Condescend also it ends in tragedy, but for an entirely different reasons of the rest of the cast. You know, they all die.
Yeah.
I think the only one who dies like in a decent way is the Grand High Blood, who dies of old age, happy in space, while sleeping on his like giant bed and having like pillows all over the place. Like, he's happy his entire life. He doesn't care.
What do you mean he's happy? He has depression.
Are you sure about that?
They all have depression. The Dollar Rosa is severely depressed. This actually no, that does pop up in her root a bit. I feel she has this whole thing. Sorry, I cut over everyone. I got excited, but yes, Rosa is a depressed bitch, and she is trying her best, and you'll see it in the good end. And you'll see it here as she talks about the caverns. And so her talking about the caverns, especially how she hated them, I feel like the Dolorosa, because Porum as a character fucking hated the caverns, and she was on the forest, and the forest sucked ass, but it wasn't as horrifically oppressive in the same way that Alternia is. So of course the Dolorosa would hate the caverns even more, and she would hate having less choices even more. The Dolorosa does deserve the world. Thank you, Latula. And yeah, she's great and depressed. And a lot of her character, I feel, the way that I characterize her is this idea of someone who fights against her own instincts of hopelessness, and her feelings of hopelessness and like despair and depression and this feeling of everything is wrong, but she knows that she can't just give up, because the moment she gives up she becomes the sort of person that she would hate. So she has to try and fight to be a good person. She is a good person who thinks she is a bad person, and it might not always come through. Like, it might not be the first thing that you will think of when you play through her route, but I'm hoping that if I wrote it right, you will see that there is a lot of sort of anxiety about the person that she is, like, in actuality, and the way that she interacts with the world. She wants to do the best thing she can, but she just doesn't think that what she can do is enough, even if all of the people that are around her love her and think that she is doing so much. I am popping off. I'm sorry.
I also say that, like, now, like, realizing this, it made her character much more feminist.
Yeah.
Perspective, I'm like, holy shit, wow. She has depth to her.
No, yeah. It's everything is so good. And, I need to stop reading the chat because I get like really focused and then I get ego. But yes, Dolorosa good. Dolorosa loves her family. Dolorosa adore her family, and I love the other writers for the Inner Circle. They're so fucking great. Like, we all had we all had a chat together, and they all helped me to we all made sure that our the characters that we have made the inner circle into felt connected and real, and they felt like they were people who, even as they Rose is in a bit of a bad situation here.
As we see, Dolorosa
Yeah.
MSPA did a little fucky wucky.
Yeah, this is one, and then that Goblin wants everybody to show, so...
Yeah, I just wanted to show the outfit change, okay? Because when it was released, I was like, fuck, it doesn't look cool, her outfit hasn't changed, and so I changed her outfit. And tried really hard not to make it look like she was wearing all denim.
She's wearing Jans and Yorts and Yurka.
Yeah.
That's the real torture Mind Fang is putting her through.
It's
no.
It's a denim.
Yeah, Mind Fang only wears denim.
You've changed it. It's all denim.
So I know that C's Dolorosa doesn't care that much about fashion, but I think that is a very good form of torture for poor.
Yeah, my personal opinion on the aesthetics was that, I know Mind Fang takes, Dolorosa as a slave. She was like, nasty. But personally, I didn't feel comfortable, removing her clothes or making her putting her in rags, especially when I was drawing her, as a hijabi. I didn't feel like I had that right. And two, I think it is a little interesting to have Mind Fang be like, no, I'm going to put you still in, kind of fancier clothes. Because, they're kind of in a... Ew, I don't want to think about the relationship.
Let's not think about the relationship between Marvel and Rosa.
You can figure it out for yourself.
Yeah,
Just a note to the audience: we do not condone this relationship.
We don't.
We really don't. Nobody here.
Oh no, God no. If anyone approaches me with Dolo Fang content, turn the other way.
I will hit you with her knife.
I will hit you with her knife. You will not even be stabbed. You will just be hit. It will hurt.
I will hit you with a knife. I will kill you with a horn. I will stab you with a thorn. Okay, I'm not gonna do this shit. All right,
we can save the threats for the end.
Yeah.
Dolo Fang bad. That's it. That's the official stance of the team.
Who has entered us?
Oh, it's hard to tell. There's so many people right now.
Damn, there's so many. Yeah. The team is huge. The team is
we have a.
This team is huge and smart.
Their brains
and their brains are. They almost have a second head of so many brains that they have. All right, we have run our little time from Dolorosa, and I kind of speed run the good ending real quick if that nobody minds, but it's we're on the Trinity. Any closing statement from the Dolorosa team before we jump to our dear Silas on this end?
If C has any words, go for it.
I have so many words. No, I love her. Her family is genuinely the most, there's this one particular line where she says, my family are the most important people in the world, and then she hesitates, and then she's like, to me, because, no, they're the most important people in the world. She would do some bad things to make sure that they are okay. She values them over everyone else, and she knows it's bad, but she'll do anything, because they're her family, and they deserve everything. And you know what? I think she's right. That is cool.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Determination time. All right, we're
oh wait.
Hmm?
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm so sorry for every single mention of her being Kanaya's hot mom.
No, don't be sorry. It's true.
I'm so sorry. The ghost of Ms. Paride took over me, held me hostage and at gunpoint, and made me type it in that many times. Okay. I'm sorry. It seems to be the one thing that a lot of people seem to focus on from the root, just the phrase, Kanaya's hot mum. And I don't blame you, but I'm still sorry. Okay. The floor is everyone else's. I will now retreat.
The floor is now of the silence team. Please give an applause in the chat, just like claps or something. Anything possible.
Yeah, pogs also work.
Pogs are welcome. We love pogs here. Yeah. I couldn't get Psionics to say pogs, but that's beside the point. Thank you for Goblin and Goblin and C for talking and illuminated us in the route. So I have started the silence takes. So Robin, Rainy, and Raz, if you have anything to say or at the beginning, let's go. We don't have specific questions for the silence team. Except, oh yeah, why is silence so baby? But like baby as in cute baby type of deal. Anyway, go off.
Why is silence so baby sounds like a Raz question?
I don't know. That's just how I drew him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He was supposed to be like sort of young, so I drew him kind of more like Kankri.
I didn't see the Signless design until I was decent amount into the script, and I was honestly so happy for it, like that he did just look so young and also so much like Kankri, because one of the things I always bear in mind when writing the Signless is I feel like a lot of people, if you ask them, oh, what's your inspiration for your Signless characterization? This is not to drag anyone, because there are a lot of Signless characterizations in the world that like I have seen and I've loved, and I actually this year have discovered some super divergent ones from my own that I'm still such a huge fan of. But I always try to think about what would Kankri be on Alternia. Like, the Signless is what he is because he wasn't raised by a world that made him horrified of being wrong, and like basically Kankri, in my opinion, based his entire existence around like proving that he's good enough and proving that he's smart enough and proving that he can be self-sufficient and he's intelligent, so he can never listen to anyone ever. Whereas the Signless, I feel like, okay, I'm so sorry for going off on this, I'll stop after this and leave room for someone else to talk, but I feel like with the dichotomy between Kankri and Signless, it looks a little bit like Kankri was ruined by a safe space, and Signless had to pull himself up by his bootstraps. And I want to make it really clear that the reason that Signless is able to be a better activist is not because of the amount of trauma he went through, or even because the trauma he went through is different from Kankri's. It's because of his family. Like, from day one, he was raised by someone who, first of all, taught him not to be sexist, and second of all, like, actually loved him in a way that was acceptable and not, like, suffocating. And that's the thing that makes him able to do what he's able to do. The Alternia just made him afraid of everything all the time. Yeah. The thoughts?
Just be a slightly better person, Kankri. There you go. Nice. And Andy, TV, you got like, since we're on the beginning of where the team starts, so you have any like words you want to say or read off the dog if you wish?
I guess the thing I have to say is I want to shout out Articulate Compose and Jake, who did music for the other two routes. Because I wanted to mention it during the Dolorosa talk, but like I didn't want to interrupt the actual deep analysis. I also like to shout out TV, who did the guitar for the Silence's theme.
Hey, no problem.
I guess the whole thing with the Silence's like music is, first of all, I'm kind of sorry for like making it very intense. Because like I've watched a few Let's Plays of the Silence's route, and the first that like the music kind of hits them like a hammer to the face. But it's like, I don't know, I was kind of going off Robin's and like analysis, not really going off of Robin's analysis. I kind of wanted to write a song that was kind of youthful sounding and rebellious, but also kind of vaguely religious with like the organs and choir and everything. And it's like, I don't like. It's just like I kind of wanted a weird mix between like kind of Carcat aesthetics as well as like Cancri aesthetic, like very just kind of like the difference in terms of like their sound. I kind of wanted to mesh that together and create something interesting. I didn't really quote anything, if I recall correctly. I didn't like use any Homestick motifs or anything. I just kind of wanted to see what I could do with like what I could do like find a way to denote these things without really relying on what is familiar, I guess.
Well, I think. Sorry for interrupting. But I think as a kind of motif, the through fire justice is don't remember, but I think it was a good shout out to the signless song from Tomb of the Ancestors. So
yeah, that was like
as a shout out. It was cool. No, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. It's just like that was like the big thing. Just like I knew if I was gonna make this music, I was gonna be like, okay, I need to at least like I want to at least like have a cheeky reference that isn't so apparent. And so like I put Through Fire of Justice is Served in there just as like a cheeky little callback to that album specifically, even if like only like a handful of people who are like really into like old Homestuck fan music would get it.
Oh yeah, I loved it. It totally brought me back to 2012 when I heard with this album, and it was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's actually from an old N64 game called Mischief Makers, and like finding like I just had to type it in like, okay, let me find do Through Fire Justice is Served, and then like if it turned up, it was like from this old N64 game. It's like, and now I feel like I have to play this now, just because I used the sample from it. Yeah. Is there anything else? Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna comment on, like, because you apologized for, like, how hard the music slaps you in the face, and, like, that sometimes, I feel like sometimes with Soundless's route, one of my weaknesses was sort of prioritizing, like, the art or the story over the gameplay. Like, I feel like, in terms of gameplay, there's a reason that his second choice is so meaningless, and I'm going to get that a little bit later. I do recognize that it's much more like reading a book than like playing a game that prioritizes you as the player. But so maybe this is me doing that again, but I actually love how much the music slaps you in the face when it starts, because there's so much that when I was writing the script didn't get to make it into Signless's character that belonged there, because I was just writing him in this one snapshot moment. And so I feel like the art brought in more of the, like, he looks so young and he kind of looks so soft, and that's a really important thing to include that I obviously tried for at points, but like it wouldn't have made it all the way without the sprite. And then the music like gives you that big fiery revolutionary energy. I'm all about it.
Oh, I'm glad it actually complimented it, because I was just kind of going into it like this was like a very last minute addition to the actual like soundtrack. So I'm just kind of like I'm not really I wasn't really thinking. I'm just kind of just like I gotta write this really fast and hope for the best. And it like to be fair, like the reception for it has been good. Like no one's told me it's shit, so that's good. So like that's a relief. But it's just like I can definitely see why people may be like it would be a shock to so many people, because it's like such a big disconnect from like even like other Fansim style music. Like I'm like especially going from the Dolorosas, which is very much like AC did like an amazing job at nailing the feel of like Fansim's like Hive Swap style music. And then you go from like that kind of feel to a completely different type of feel. Like I can kind of see why that'd be a shock to some people.
Yeah, so it's super divergent. I love the fact that you can like include that kind of music in a video game. That like it wasn't limited by genre, I guess. I also I see that a scene is coming up that I'm going to want to comment on eventually, but we're not quite there yet.
Maybe fulfill up the space, the airspace, a little bit in a sense until I click fast enough. A lot of like when organizing this project, it was for me it was like I have a massive love on the ancestors, but I'm obviously obsessed with the psionic most, and Goblin knows this. And I wanted these. It was a little bit of a project in the sense that I wanted this to be like a thing. I wanted to play it. I wanted to like. This is a game I wanted to play. And when we started organizing it, it started as a joke, as all good projects start as a joke. And then it was like, you know what, we can actually make this. We can actually do this. And I take all the... I always say that I wanted everybody in this project to pour all of their best love into this project. In the sense that if you are in here with us... you gotta really like the ancestors, and you gotta like bring your own unique take on it. And yeah, it might make it a little disjointed in places, and some things cannot perfectly like mesh, as some people point out, but I do want to see what everybody takes on the ancestors are, because there are such characters that a lot of people like, and there is not a lot of information from them. So let's be honest, a lot of it is just headcanoning around these ideas that come from Mindfang's journal, who is basically the most unreliable narrator that exists in this universe. So taking everything with at least a grain of salt here and there and see how it goes. But yeah, that is
Really, the fact that we only hear about most ancestors through Mindfang and Doc Scratch is really a lot when you're trying to write them. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. It's because it's true. It's true. Like Doc Scratch and Mindfang are not reliable narrators at all. So if you really want to deal with it, you gotta peel the layers of bullshit, as he's saying. What is this bullshit? You gotta peel the layers off.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. The floor is yours.
This is
something.
Oh yes, who's there?
Birdie. Hi. So I just wanted to like say something real quick about this background. And like I wanted to try and make something that was like kind of similar to what our planet looks like in the present day, but also like still a bit rugged in everything. And I saw the idea of like making things like look kind of destroyed but still like lived in, which is why you would see like some of the buildings destroyed or like half done in construction. It's like a little tank in there, like on the left side of the screen, whatever. I try my best. I did like a lot of research of what ruins would look like and places that you can kind of live in, but still it's hard to do. And I think I did a good job there. I'm not a good at doing like exteriors, especially like buildings and stuff, but I think I did a pretty good job on this. And the factory in the background, I love the smokes. And it looks nice, even though it's a shitty thing that's happening in there. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
I gave a shout out to the sprites earlier, but I didn't give a shout out to the background art, and also just like the job of like choosing which sprites go where in the animation, which was none of that was me. That was Leo on this route. That was excellent. I wanted to talk about how C, the Dolorosa's writer, and I accidentally did the same thing where we broke the like rules of the game's format in the same way, in that early in the Dolorosa's route you have a bunch of single choices on screen where you don't get to choose anything else. And Signless has that too, where it says don't intervene. And what I was trying to do was like riff off of there's a point in like Pesterquest and Fansim where like you know by now that the pattern is intervene or don't, so much that there are a couple choices, like the one in the I think the one in the like anime shop was just intervene or don't intervene. Anyway, and so the singular choice pops up on screen to try to feed this impression that like you're in this moment too, and you're being impacted by the Signless's presence too, and so it doesn't feel like a choice. Like, that's him taking command of the situation. Don't intervene. And it was so funny to see Caesar and in our Inner Circle group chat here, like, oh yeah, and I thought it was super cool that, like, the Dolorosa doesn't give you those choices early on. We use the exact same device. The other thing I had to comment on in that scene is that Signless is autistic in this game. And that scene was one of a few very intentional moments. Like, when I talked about how, like, it says, there's nothing aggressive about him, but it's like he doesn't understand. Like, everyone else here knows he isn't supposed to be there, and he doesn't. And that's Signless doing something super intentional. He knows that he's creating that impression, but it also feels to me, I'm autistic myself, and it feels to me like a very autistic skill to, like, exist outside of the usual social expectations, and that's part of, like, how he disarms people and how he gets his in. Yee. Autistic rights.
Thanks for the poggers, everybody.
I feel so loved.
I think it's a fantastic choice for Signless. I haven't thought of it until you brought it up, but it just fits him very well. I have a love for the Stroud as well. It's very nicely done, and I appreciate it all in all out. Robin, we have one question for you specifically from the Curious Cat from Anonymous, and is, how did you decide on the cultural world building of the Signless? There are contemporary words like in Fansim. What are the types of cultural, political, historical situations do you think about that didn't make the cut? How did you come up for the one that you showed with the blue blood, or did it feel obvious from the start?
How did I come up with, like, the specific, like, cultural backdrop for this route, essentially? Is that a good summary of the question?
Yeah, that's basically what I was going to say.
It was really hard, actually. So I think I knew pretty early on that you were going to not attend a real sermon. And I was trying to come up with a conflict, and so I mostly built my Signless characterization, and most of the Signless writing I do is actually through roleplay. I'm gonna give a shout out to my more real bipolar Ronin Lynch Evangelist on Tumblr, or Elliptical on Archive of Our Own, because we roleplayed for years, and, like, you're definitely not the only person who built a lot of my Signless characterization, but I would be asked a lot of on-the-fly world-building questions and need to answer them. But in terms of this specific environment, it was only when I needed to solidify the background that I finally went, okay, it's some kind of factory town. And even then I was still sort of questioning myself, because this is a society that is not run by children, right? So you have to answer questions about, like, these questions didn't come up in my route, but I think about, like, okay, there are probably many more local cultures. I've seen a lot of very good ancestor writers do that. I have to think about, okay, at what point did these other children, like, free at any point in current Alternia? Especially looking at Fansim, it's like low-blood kids are, like, they're often slotted into certain jobs, and I'm not going to imply that anyone is free under the Empire, or that any low-blood child is specifically. It's when you're 7 that you actually do your old ordeals and you take a job, and so it's like, you have to think about what the dynamic of that is like for children growing up on Alternia, and ultimately I think other low-blood writers to answer those tricky questions more than I did, because my main questions were things like, did Signless grow up in a neighborhood or pretty off the grid? And those were questions that I took to, like, the Inner Circle group chat, that I took to see specifically. We talked a lot about how the Dolorosa raised him. Yeah, in terms of the specific backdrop for this one, it's a, quote, factory town-ish setting. It's not a one-on-one parallel to anything, but I was inspired by the existence of factory towns, and it's also kind completely gated. As he says later, none of the workers here are free. In a much more literal sense than when I say the word factory town about like U.S. history. I was sort of scrambling for that, I need to be honest. Whenever you write Homestuck Ancestors, or Homestuck in general, because I'm going to talk more about this at the Befriend Us panel later, but there's a lot to think about when you're trying to world build any kind of alien empire. Anyway, I'm sure that there are things that round up seeming like one-to-one parallels that I could have done better. And I'm sure there are things that you're looking at that are vague and going, I want to know more about that. And my answer is, I don't know more either, and that's why it's not in the root.
Yeah, there were things there that we had to like scrub out a little bit. Last second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren, you mentioned you were gonna talk about the meaningless of the choice between tea and coffee. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Since we're on the moment, yeah.
Does anyone else from this team want to like say anything first? I feel like I've monopolized a lot of our time.
Oh, no, you're good.
I mean, no, you're fine. You've clearly put way more thought into pretty much all aspects of the writing than I have put in. I put any of it into the music.
Me too.
Just pretend anything brilliant you did was on purpose, because I love it.
We'll do.
Haha, coding go brrr.
So yeah, I decided that because I struggled to figure out the choice for a while, and it seems obvious to make the choice like whether to help him with something or not, or things like that. But it occurred to me that because Signless exists within a narrative, I couldn't give you a choice that was like change his future or not. I could give you a choice that was like change something in the moment, and I think a big theme that's emerged, Theo was actually talking about it the other day, was how like a big theme that emerged in these first 4 routes was all these like little choices and what they mean in the moment. But I gave you a meaningless coffee or tea choice to kind of put you in the position of like every other person on Alternia who heard Signless speak once, thought he was pretty cool, and then didn't do much more about it. Which has to be a lot of people. And that's because when the Signless was executed, remember he said like his compassion transmuted into divine rage or whatever it is, obviously a lot of that is just the fact that he's dying and the fact that his family is dying or losing their freedom. I also believe that a lot of it is this feeling of betrayal, that he's spent so long like explaining to people like, it's okay that you're afraid, it's okay that you're not ready, step away when you're ready, I will keep the door open. Oh, my mom is in the background, so I'm hi mom. And then finally, when it reaches the point of his death, he suddenly realizes how much every single other person on the planet could have done more. And didn't. And that's ultimately why he died, right? But to put you in that position, the reason that everyone else on Alternia was on that position, like there were some people who made that choice intentionally, but there's also the fact that Doc Scratch and the Handmaid exist, right? That's why when the speech says, in the back of your mind where your broken memory lives, you feel something else. There's something bigger here than Aradia's rules. That's what it's talking about, that no matter what choice you make, you ponder about how you're unstuck now and you can break the timeline apart at its core, but that's the something else that brings you back. And so you're going to move forward after these routes, and you're going to meet a bunch of the ancestors who lived long after Signless died, and you're going to need to contend much more hands-on with the fact of his death and his family losing their freedom and the disciples' exile. And so I wanted to create a position kind of where you're looking back at that whole speech about how could you do more, but then you choose your friends and you choose linearity. To kind of, I'm so sorry for losing my focus. I wanted to create a situation where, yes, you could have done more, but the narrative didn't let you. And the reason it mattered to make it, yes, you couldn't do more, but the narrative didn't let you, is that the rest of that speech, the part where it's saying, you're pretty sure you can't change this, but maybe that's just something you've always wanted to believe, that you want the world to make sense, and so you want to believe the battle's unwinnable. You wonder how many battles you declared unwinnable back home. You wonder if at the time you knew that wasn't true. The narrative is what stops you in this route from choosing that, from choosing to do more for the Signless right now and choosing to break the timeline. And so the moral wasn't that you can't. Homestuck has this whole theme of, if you were a character in a narrative, would that be fucked up or what? But I also wanted to write something that people could take and walk away with, like, okay, I'm not in a narrative. And the thing that stops you in this route is only that, while the rest of it is sort of you as the reader recognizing your power, basically. So yes, after his route, you're in a position where it's like, well, fuck, I could have done more, and he's probably angry at me at his death for not doing more to save him and his family too. And the narrative was the only obstacle that prevented that.
Yeah, like a lot of the theme of the game that I come to realize that I'm not gonna take credit for the fact that it was from the beginning, but a lot of the scenes from this game are I hope that is gonna end up being, you could always do more, but the little things that you do matter, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You have to try to be better, and silence is a very powerful route, and it complements real well with the next routes, and I hope that you're gonna know it. Also, Birdie put a meme on the chat that is perfect. I'm very sorry y'all cannot see this amazing meme without screwing anything. So yeah.
I'm sending it in the Twitch chat. I'm just linking the image.
Alright, everybody, you'll get one meme.
Thank you, Birdie. No, it's not even showing up. Okay, it's not even captioned on the image. It was Robin's Signless lore and Hussey's canon Signless lore, and I feel very loved. Thank you.
It's very meaty. Right, more on the closing minutes of this route. We have to run to the most recent routes, we said Psionic and Disciple. So is there anything else the team wants to close with? Raz, anything about the sprites? Robin, anything about the story? And Rainy, anything about the music over here?
Was a kiss to Team Inner Circle. That's it. That's all of it.
I guess like one last thing. There are two vocal samples in this. The first one is that "Through Fire Justice is Served," and then the second one is, I think it's like some line from a JRPG, if I recall correctly. It's like, I think it's like bravery is the ability to turn your dreams into reality. And I felt that was pretty. I thought, like, of the things that I put in that song that have no thought, that was actually one of the things that I felt was like very perfect for Signless as a character. And that's really about it. I did put some thought into this, contrary to popular belief.
You did. I think we told you like many times, but I'm gonna tell you again because you have to deal with the fact that the Signless song, you came in like a trooper and you took something that we had to struggle with our previous composer, and you did something so amazing in such short time and willingly, and you have been such a cornerstone for like the team, just putting this song after song, and I really want you to like know that you're amazing, and yeah, that clap.
Aw, thank you so much.
Also, like, I just, like, sort of just more love for Rainy, because why not? But, whatever you say about, like, oh, like, you feel like you didn't put in, like, as much thought, I think I speak for all of us in saying that, like, you really have an intuitive sense of, like, taste for each character, and it shines through really well. And so whether you feel like that was conscious thought or not, like, it's all very tasteful. in my opinion. And that shines through a lot in all of the roots and roots that come.
Second did hardcore for the record.
Yeah, co-signed. That was
God.
That's real shit.
Signed by the entire team here.
Yeah, we love our musicians so goddamn much. I don't know what we would do without them because they really fucking set the mood.
Like I'm legitimately trying not to cry right now. So, anyway, thank you so much.
Make Rainy cry challenge. Let's go, fam.
No!
Crying aloud on
no.
stream.
We're not making our musicians cry. We're appreciating them, not bullying.
Yeah, but like, it's love. I'm giving them love. That's why they're crying. You know, it's not. It's fair.
Please don't make me cry. Please don't make me cry on stream. No one wants to hear that.
It's okay, just mute your mic.
Jesus Christ. Alright, and with that we're closing the Signless portion of this. Thank you very much, both the Signless and Dolorosa team, coming like Volume 1 and 2, the openers for this game, and the setting of the mood. We have to move to House of Sai, which I am ironically part of, so
Ironically, you chose Psionic.
I didn't.
You knew what you were doing.
I didn't choose anything.
Psionic?
I didn't found any house. You don't know what I'm talking about. So it's Milo wants more birthday for the bank. Milo for the writing. I did the sprites. Invalid cards did the coding for this one. I didn't touch the coding with a 10 football for this one. There is birthday on backgrounds again for this one. Let's see. Let's get on this. Oh wait, yeah, and Rainy did Laika for this one. Wow. Welcome to Jazz. Also another background artist for Psionic.
Yeah, this is Make Rainy Cry Challenge Part 2, guys. So
No, please, I am.
I also want to apologize from the bottom of my heart that I didn't make Sai say Pog. I really fucked up there. So yeah, sorry guys. But yeah, before we get into the root, is there anything like the artists or the musicians or coders want to say to like start things off?
Well, there are no Psionic questions directly addressed as far as I can see. So I can say one thing about Psy, and I want to say that it was not my intention to come in and crush every single dream you have about like Psionic being like a thin strip of like nothing beef jerky. But I have been drawing Psy buff for personal reasons for a long time. So when I was playing this game, I was like, I need to expose people to this. They need to be awoken. They need to understand what I say. So I made a Dorito into a person and poured Montandy on it, and it became Psy. And that's all I'll say about the sprites.
You're gay. That's the personal reason.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Jess did an amazing job on this background? Like I just
Literally.
It makes me feel things, and it's very happy emotions.
Same. It's such a pretty background. Also, like, I wanted to start us off, like, at an actual sermon, because I just kind of wanted the root to kind of have those, like, suffering by the people for the people, like, Paradox Space comic vibes. That's my favorite, Paradox Space comic, so... Yeah, I was kind of going off of that and wanted that to be the vibe. And also, like, with the signless dialogue, I, like, distinctly remember messaging Robin at, like, 2 a.m., like, while I was writing it, being like, would the signless actually say this shit? Like, I've never written him before, but it was kind of fun to, like, write a little bit of what I think he'd say at a sermon.
Wept about what Milo wrote, like, for the record.
Yeah, but also, like, that, like, during his dialogue, he kind of talks about community, which is something I kind of like wanted to be like a focal point of this route. I think like, you know, as the story of the Signless is told, like in the comic, you know, we kind of just have the understanding that like, oh, this was the Signless's rebellion, TM. And like, you know, any accomplishments that the Psionic had in the rebellion, like, were kind of forgotten by history. You know, like Doc Scratch just kind of mentions him as being the Signless's like homie, and that's it basically. So like I kind of just wanted to have this vibe of like, no, like the rebellion wasn't just, you know, the Signless's thing, even though like of course he's like such an important part of it and we all love him so much, but like it was everybody. Like it was the Clade and like all of their sacrifices and, you know, everything that they put into it, and it was the community as a whole, all of his supporters and everyone who listened to him. Like, yeah, so I kind of just wanted to have this little snapshot of like, you know, just a normal thing that like the Psionic might do at a sermon to like help the movement as a whole, to just kind of like remember him and like, you know, like his accomplishments and everything, because I think that's important. And yeah, also like with the like closet time, like bar establishment kind of vibes. I don't know if y'all watch Always Sunny, but I kind of wanted to like, y'all know the Charlie's Work episode where you just kind of like follow around Charlie, like making sure everything doesn't go to shit and like nobody notices. That was the kind of vibes I wanted to have come off in this route a little bit.
Sai was like Pepe Silva. It's Pepe Silva.
Yeah, it's literally Pepe Silvia. Yeah, so that was kind of where that was coming from. I also just knew I wanted this to open with like the Psionic interrogating you in a closet. I don't know, that was always just kind of something I wanted to start off with. Like when I realized that I was gonna be able to write this route, which I'm very happy I was able to do. Yeah, so you know, those are just the vibes. Also, yes, Disciple calling Sai her yellow heart and Signs her red heart in the chat. Yeah, I like literally died when Riff wrote that. Like, I was up in the Inner Circle group chat just like, yeah.
Sign and Die have two hands, and Sai has two of everything, so...
Yeah, like, he needs to have two significant others. That's just the facts. Like, but yeah, also, this comes up a lot. The Psionic just kind of forgets to ask what the fuck the MSPA reader is, which I think is kind of a king move for him. Like, yeah. Also, yes, Rosa and Sai are best fucking friends. Actually, like, me and C talked a lot about this, but yeah, like, I think the Dolorosa and the Psionic are very, very similar in the fact that they, like, just want to protect their family. Like, they will not hesitate. Like, as we can see in both of their roots, they will not fucking hesitate. Like,
it's
and
on site.
it's literally on site. You know. So yeah, I feel like I'm talking a lot. If anybody else wants to hop in, like, feel free, boys.
I do want to talk a little bit about this background because like it's a little zoom in, so not all of the good shit can be seen, which is I need to fix but like this background is one of my favorites, you know, like in so far. It's because of I'll let you explain what all those goodies that you packed into it.
Well, for one thing, I said that they wanted talked about extra setting up the zip with In this background,
I think you're cutting off a little bit. Yes, your audio is going in and out.
Eat the mic.
Nom 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 nom.
is that better?
Yeah, way better.
Yes.
Okay.
Significantly.
Alright. So in this background there was a lot of background details, and unfortunately a lot of them got cropped, which has been a notorious problem with my background specifically, for some reason. I don't know why. At first I had the dimensions wrong. That was sad. But so there's Vicari's jacket, and the front person there, she's covered by the text box, but Terezi's in the front there too. I don't know if you can move to a panel where he's not there, but I put tiny little Terezi there. Not Terezi.
The red glare.
Not Terezi. Red glare.
You can see her in this little bit before Sai moves. See, boop. It's just like there, but there is no. Actually, let me see if I can bring it up in chat. But yeah.
And one of the victims of the technical problems was both a Malik that I hid in the background, and on the other side of that, a zebra I hid in the background. So you guys are blessed and cursed.
Zebra in the background. You all have to deal with the fact that his ancestor was there.
Damn, I can't believe Zebra actually supports low blood rights. That's like so powerful of him. Honestly.
Okay, so you know Puinko? He made this long series of drawing the Ancestral ancestors, and the ancestor he drew for Zebra is called the Advocate, and he looks like he's like genuinely interested in supporting low bloods or whatever. Like, he totally killed someone to support him for some reason. So I was like, it would be pretty cool if I put their ancestors in this, you know, just for fun.
Just for chits and giggles is fine.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm planning to do in future backgrounds that have people in them, but you know, obviously I had to get Zebra out of the way first.
Definitely. Also, when Sai's like, okay, let's de-escalate the situation. I got the de-escalate word from Robin Silencer actually. And yeah, I think the Psionic definitely learned that word from the Signless, and definitely like does not know the right meaning of that yet. He's kind of bad at de-escalating shit, as we can fucking see. But yeah,
he does not de-escalate.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I also like with this dialogue, I kind of wanted to kind of look at the fact again that like you know, the Psionic is kind of like a fully actualized like person, like as C was saying, like he's not just like a member of the movement. He doesn't just like blindly follow the Signless teachings. You know, like if this interaction were to happen like with the Signless with like the spy, it definitely would have gone a lot different. But like here and also like later in his good route, like I kind of wanted to show that like, you know, he doesn't have the same exact viewpoints, like he thinks for himself, and yeah. So those were kind of the vibes there. Um, yeah, but oh shit, it's bad root time. So yeah, I kind of wanted to like with the psionic skid root and kind of with the beginning, he's pretty much like near constantly hyping himself up, you know? Like he's like, yeah, I am that bitch. Like and he's like really, really confident and everything. But I think, you know, he also gets very like hellbrain kind of just kind of like self-doubt time. And I think those are both like really big extremes for him. So I kind of wanted his bad root to focus more on those vibes and his good root to focus more on his like yeah, I'm that bitch vibes. So yeah. And yeah, does anyone also that this moment that is actually going to happen, or I think just happened, with like his sprites like going off like all at once and everything, that was such a cool addition from the coders. If y'all want to speak on that.
Invalid Cards, who is our psionic coder, who's not here, did that entirely on his own, and I lost my shit the first time I saw it. It was so fucking good because yeah, he's frantic. That's Sai. Sai is very frantic, very stressed when he wants to be in Milo's characterization, like hitting on the nail. And all I did for this part of the route was like, oh, let me speed it up a little bit so he looks more manic. All right, let's go. Thanks. That's all I did, to be honest. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite moments. I love it so much. It's king shit. But yeah. And yeah, I also just kind of wanted to give the vibes in the bad route that Sai kind of like already knows where this shit is going. Like he knows like this shit is not going to end well and shit because Doom player time. And so yeah, he's kind of a bit of a Debbie Downer in this one. But like yeah, like you know, he's just trying his hardest in this house, and we can appreciate that. Also, yeah, not to reference Robin's route again, but I'm gonna reference it again. Like, he kind of has this moment where he sort of disarms the stranger, like, with, like, just basic kindness and, you know, like, apology and everything.
Totally out
and
of character for Sai to not
yeah,
mess
guys.
somebody up.
OC, I'm so sorry. But you know, yeah, I kind of wanted to show that, like, you know, he may be kind of like rough around the edges, kind of like bristly, like hard to befriend or whatever. You know, he still like is part of the movement. He still like genuinely believes in all of the Silence's teachings, you know, and like I kind of wanted for him to have this little moment where he was just, you know, making people feel good, like being a little community leader and everything. So yeah. Yeah, that was his bad route. And also like with that stuff, I continue.
Yeah, so this is like side note. I'm still amused by the fact that his bad end is that when you try to do push-ups. That is probably the funniest. Yeah.
Yeah. MSP A-Reader cannot impress this bitch with their physical prowess. So like sucks for him, I guess. But or sucks for them, I guess. But yeah. And also this moment, like, yeah, I kind of wanted that choice, where MSPA is kind of being like, okay, do I want to see somebody die right now? Be very, very meaningless. As my fellow Inner Circle writers have also done their roots, kind of like, yeah, like as C was saying, sort of the illusion of like a choice and everything. Again, it's Doom player time. Y'all really think we're gonna have control over how this root's gonna go, kind of energy. But yeah. And like that was kind of the thought process there. And yeah, I also just love kind of like in this little moment, I love playing with the idea. I think I like info dumped about this in the public ancestor server, but I kind of really like thinking about the psionic and how his having psionics and being the most powerful psionic can like be definitely a nerf, as we can see. It can definitely be a social nerf, but like I feel like when the psionic is with the Inner Circle and he genuinely has something like he believes in and has something that he wants to like stand up for and is like has something he's passionate for, like his psionics become less of this thing that like gives him like inescapable like dread and more of this thing where like he feels empowered by it and he feels like he can actually like make a difference in history and protect the people that he loves and everything and like have all of these like positive things and just kind of like take ownership of that. I feel like that's some king shit for him and I love to see it. Yeah, so that's just kind of the vibes. Also like this part, as I was saying, with like Psy differing from Silence's like views and everything, we talked about this in like the Inner Circle GC and everything, and like I love Robin's characterization of the Signless because when we were talking about their characters, Robin made it like very clear that like the Signless is never going to like judge his family based on their actions or like act like they're not like doing exactly like what the movement is like saying to do. Like they can all have their own interpretations of like kindness and like necessary justice, and even though the Signless may not make the decisions that the Psionic makes or the Dolorosa makes or the Disciple makes, like he still unconditionally like supports him and supports all of them as well, and that makes me very happy. Also, this is my favorite sprite. I just wanted to say that. His chat energy, it's kind of legendary.
That's the only part of Sprite I allowed myself to be like, alright, this one is really gonna show muscles. The other ones kinda like cover himself a lot. Or just not really because of the poncho, but oh my god.
God, his poncho. It's powerful stuff, Leo. I love how you designed his outfit. And also, yeah, I'm glad you let him have a big Chad moment. Jazz, if you wanted to talk about this background, I love it. So, floor is yours.
Oh, I drew it.
Oh shit! Sorry, Birdie, my bad.
I just talk. Yeah, I will say this is one of my favorites to work on, just because like I love space and I get to view the sparkle tool on Clip a lot. I don't really have much to say. It's just like it's a nice sky background. I try to make it look kind of fishlandy or whatever, as well as like as you're looking up in the sky. And yeah, there's the little tic tacs from the previews on the side over there. That was unintentional. It wasn't just like my freckle tool that I also use for like sparkles too.
Oh yeah, like because like it was early on when we were having a few like I was like, how do I tease this? How do I keep people engaged? And I just started like little crops of one of the previews, and and he was like, "Oh," and if someone said, "Oh, it's a Tic Tacs," like, yeah, let's go with a Tic Tac. Little did I know the best preview we made, well, the reveal came again as a joke of a fever dream. It was a fucking Yankat thing. That used like it was like, "Hey, should I do this?" And everyone was like, "Yeah," and that's it. That it was done like on like 5 seconds. It was probably the best thing we ever made. It the Pop Tart Disciple Psionic, and yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that was like my background you cropped out of. And I was just like, what the hell is this from? What are these 3 Tic Tacs from? And I was like looking everywhere and I was like, oh, I forgot that was a thing in there.
Pie Shark. People in the chat are asking if we would put up the sprites and backgrounds as an upload.
Oh yeah, there's plans to put the backgrounds in one single folder from download. So that's that. The sprites I'm gonna have to ask to every single sprite artist if they're okay with that, and then separate them for download safely.
As the background artist, we've been pretty. As far as I know, we're okay with getting them uploaded, but the sprite artists kind of.
It's up to them.
Disappeared sometimes.
Yeah, like it's up to them. It's fine. Like we can get ready. But yeah, like as soon as I get the go I'll start compiling these things and just sending them over.
And then you will get all of the things.
You get all of the assets.
I'd rather people like download the sprites when like the sprites and backgrounds when like everything's finished and uploaded, so it's in the highest quality instead of Twitter or Tumblr, because I have a feeling that the compression will like just ruin the quality of these backgrounds and the
I'm
sprites.
sure that Tumblr has compressed the quality on the ones that I've uploaded.
Yeah.
I do want to say birdies are amazing. I love birdies.
I want to thank you both actually. Yes, Birdie, you both have like come in like and done like backgrounds for like everything and everyone just on the drop of the hat, and that is very commendable. It's very amazing. Like I use for having like you didn't have to literally to do this many backgrounds, but you two were like, yeah, let's go, and you drew so many, and it's amazing. I love every single one of them. It's like, I'm not joking. Like I really like your work. It's very good to have you here taking up so many stuff.
Thank you. I mean,
wasn't gonna wait until the handmaids to make stuff.
Yeah.
I was too impatient.
Yeah, and plus it's a good practice for me because I'm not, like, truth be told, I'm not primarily a background artist like outside of Distantquest, but like I like working on these backgrounds. It's just like it's very relaxing. For me, I just paint.
A really good experience, definitely.
Yeah, and it definitely helps like with my skills growing more and more. But I mean, my comfort zone is mainly like nature stuff or whatever. But I do like enjoy doing interiors and exteriors and all that.
Like that really beautiful forest drawing is one that she made, or that's one that Birdie made, and it's just amazing. And it's one of my favorite ones in the entire game. Is the forest you made. And
factual. Yeah, like props go out to all of the background artists because the work y'all did on this was beautiful. Like I'm still not over the servant background. I'm still not over the night sky background. It was so pretty. Had such like calming energy. Yeah, you guys went off very hard.
I love the backgrounds that she made for the Disciples route, which I don't know if we're going to play through, but people in the chat should definitely play through it and look at the backgrounds in there.
We're gonna play in a little bit.
They're gorgeous.
We're gonna be close to Psionic about in a second. I do want to hear of Rainy. What about the Psionic music before we close? You are not safe, my good sir. You are not safe. I haven't forgotten.
Okay, cool.
Are we gonna play music? Yes.
Let's see. First of all, I want to shout out to Celty, actually, who did the track art for this. I also want to shout out to Goblin, who also did the track art for Signless. While I am thinking about it, I didn't want to forget. I want to give everyone credit where credit is due. And as far as like the soundless music goes, this was actually one of the ones I wanted to do. When I was talking to Leo, I basically applied which characters I wanted to do. The Psionic was among them, but someone else was doing it at the time. But they're gone now, so I got to do it. I was like, and so like, I was really excited to do it, honestly, because I wanted to, because like Goldbloods, like the whole like Solix, the whole like Caster family is like one of my favorite like some like all of them are like my favorite characters in Homestuck. So when I got a chance to do this, I was like really, really excited. So I got to chance. So I decided to go for a very chiptune aesthetic feeling song, because that's kind of what people typically expect. But I also kind of wanted it to be a little bit more alien and kind of weird sounding. So like I have this weird 4-note melody that's playing in the background that's panning from ear to ear. And there's really not a whole lot in terms of the actual composition. I named the track Leica because it's like, first of all, it's like I thought it was thematically appropriate. I thought thematically appropriate because it was like, I don't know, Leica being like that tragic space, the Russian space dog that went to space and unfortunately died, and then the Psionic being like very much like, if you know anything about the Psionic, you know that he kind of winds up being enslaved by Condi and winds up dying in the process. And I felt like that was very thematically resonant. Albeit, I know I'm not the first one to kind of try and to kind of incorporate like the story of Leica into like Homestuck stuff. There's this. I'm sorry. There's this one comic called Liminal Space by I think their name is Floral Marsupial on Twitter. They kind of use the mythos of Leica to like as a allegory for Jade Harley, and I was actually kind of debating putting it in the title to say Leica parentheses read Liminal Space, but I decided not to because I felt like it would make it a little too long. But you should read Liminal Space; it's very good.
Cool hat. I will have mine of that.
And to kind of fit the space theme, I kind of chopped up a bunch of samples from a couple of NASA like space missions. So like that countdown is from the Apollo 11 space mission, and then there's the other sample that is just from the moon landing. I think it's like Neil Armstrong, One Small Step for Man. And then for the rest of the samples, I kind of just like I think at like some point with that glitchy part in the song, I basically was just like, what if this was like a Ness, and I just threw it down a flight of stairs? What would that sound like? And so that's how that sound kind of came about. And honestly, it was just a really fun track to write. Yeah, that's really about it. I think.
It was an amazing track, okay? It's very good. I love it. I love the music. It's really nice. And with that, we have to move into the disciple route. Thank you so much, everybody on the Psionic team to make this possible. And I'm gonna have to go do the amazing main menu button that was recently added in the latest update because I apparently wasn't there before. Oops.
Thank you, Leo, for the sexy Psionic art. Am I right or am I right?
You are wrong.
Hey, what the fuck?
Right, it's disciple time. We have here our disciple writer and our disciple artist ready to talk. Sadly, our disciple musician isn't here, which is a tragedy because they made like 5 tracks, and I'm still
like it. I didn't realize how many songs Jake had written until like I got to the credits while I was going over the playtest version, and it's like everybody else has like, you know, 1 song, and then you get to the disciples route, and it's like 5 songs, motherfucker. Like, it's so much, but it's all so pretty.
You made it with intent. Right, we start a real quick check, and this is the last part of this. Is we have one question for Disciple, and it's can I give Disciple a hug, please, and thank you. God.
I put it in the route. She gives you a hug.
Yeah,
Like,
but they're like, hey, can I give another hug? It's like, well, you're asking too
yes.
much.
Do you see how pretty this is? See how pretty it is?
I also really enjoy the backgrounds of the Disciple route a lot.
They're gorgeous and everything I could have hoped for.
Thank you. I kind of went. I think I went hard on Disciple's background. Like, it's like the most I've done for a single route, and I'm just like all the work paid off. It looks very nice in the end.
Yeah. No, I love the colors for the cave. Also, I think our sprite artist is having trouble, so I want to take a second to gush about how fucking sorry, I'm swearing too much. How gorgeous the Disciple is. Like, I love that we just ended up with a beefcake route. Like, Sai and Dai, like, both brought the muscle, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm sending a link to the OST for these routes.
The plan.
Low.
Sorry for the
Sorry.
silence. I'm sorry.
There we go.
The plan for the roads when it comes musically is to have an entire track when the entire game is out, which I know it's a lot of wait, but please please wait. But yeah, so far however, the tracks are in our musicians in YouTube's, and they are also on link it on the Twitter, which and I will retweet them again today if you wish to see them. But yeah, a lot of the music can be found in YouTube.
Yes. Yeah, if you look up Distantquest, they're all there. YouTube loves us. The algorithm is okay. I can't wait until the sprite artist gets on here because it'd be fun to talk about that.
Just as a comment, I don't know if you can hear me.
We can.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so honestly, my notes, I gave my notes to Leo because I wasn't expecting to be able to join the panel because it's like 2:38 in the morning right now where I am. But like, I just wanted to talk a little about her sprites. I had to remake a design because over the course of 2 years, I've actually made like 4 or 5 Disciple designs that I hold very dear to my heart, and I didn't want to use any of those for Distantquest because this would be something that I wanted to personally share to everyone. So it'd be like it's not mine anymore. It's everyone's. It's everyone's Disciple. So there was a point where I wanted to keep it simple, so I wouldn't die while crunching through all the sprites. In a matter of the period of time I have to take care of that. But I posted on my Twitter the original design, which, as you can see, was very, very complicated. I tried to remake it when I was first testing the sprite designs, and my god, I could not. I had to remake one on the spot, just her clothing design. But I decided to give her like big hair, and her physique would be like built, because I honestly can't see her any other way after reading what Riff wrote. Like, she's not just the writer, she was a huntress before she was the Disciple. And that made me feel things, so I said, let's make her buff. Let's make her a beefcake. Why not? Strong women, am I right?
Yes. And she has always been
Strong
intended
women.
to be buff.
Yeah.
There's never been a point where she's not buff.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Birdie Sleeps. Yeah, they're all chads. The clade is full of chads.
Virgin Highbloods versus
Except for the
Chad.
signless.
Dolorosa's buff as fuck under those clothes.
Signless is baby.
She's fucking ripped.
She sure is. I'll talk about the other sprites a while later, when they come around. Because since this is still the intro of the route, so Riff, you can take over for now.
That's a dangerous request. I'm going to keep talking forever. But because it's in the chat and we just passed it, I do want to talk about Chancla Rosa. Chancla Rosa was this joke sprite that I think, was it Leo who made it? Like,
I made it, but I think it was Leo's.
I made a joke. We were making a joke about like Dolorosa wearing chanclas and there's people with chanclas, and then Goblin made the sprite.
Yeah.
And then the Goblin showed it here with the quote, "You have no idea what I'm capable of surviving." And then Rick had to include it into the route, and that's how it came to be.
Well, I think we were talking about like, oh, like, haha, it's a shame we won't be able to include this in Rose's route, and I was like, give me 5 minutes.
Included it anyway.
Yeah, but to talk a bit more about my writing ethos, because it springboards nicely off of something you said, Salty, a big thing for me is that I wanted to... Dai is a well-liked character, but I think what we forget is, like, A, she is one of the most important characters in Homestuck in terms of just, like, setting up the world. And B, she had some kind of life before the Signless, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into, is, like, we know her as the Chronicler, but what connections does she have with Mulin? What connections does she have with Nepeta? Like, what was she doing before Sign met her, and like, why is this so important to her? And that's just kind of all stuff that I wanted to elaborate on with her in her route. And that's part of why Sign actually isn't in a whole lot of it, is I kind of wanted to give her her own time.
Can I just say that the Disciple route is one of my favorites in the entire thing so far?
Aww.
Like, I loved reading it.
Oh, thank you. I liked writing it. I got feelings. Like, Miss Disciple, I would love to hold your hand very respectfully and observe you at your work. Okay, I'm going to point it out now because I'm going to forget later, but Salty, I love the little hair ties.
That is about the best scene.
Every time I
Yeah.
look at them, I feel things.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that a while later, but since you brought it up, I could talk
Are you
about
guys
it right
ready?
now. Ever since I started making Disciple designs, I've always wanted to incorporate little things about the other Clade members into her design. And for this Disciple, it would have been the hair ties. Because, first of all, big hair. She's gotta need something to keep that hair out of her face to make sure she can do what she has to do. Also, this part, this was my favorite.
I love the sprite.
It gets me every time.
That's my favorite sprite to make. It stumped me at first to make it, because I was like, I was reading the script and then I read the part where where MSPA reader just freaking launches a fish at her, and I'm like, I need to draw this sprite. I need to draw this dynamic sprite. It needs to be seen. It needs to be out there. And well, there it is.
It's so
The real Mariner's Revenge.
Yeah, I started calling this particular sprite Dual Scars Revenge.
That's great,
What's-
actually.
It's really funny because the sprite artist for Dai also is making the sprites for Dual Scar, and it will be funny to it will be fun to see the parallels and just the way that they look next to each other. It's
Wait,
funny.
Not to be like that, but like the Disciple artist is doing Summoner sprites, and then Queen is doing the Dual Scar sprite.
Oh wait,
Quinn is the one doing
wait,
the dual sprites.
never mind.
Actually, I'm salty. Hi, sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, we know
I-
you're salty and clammy.
Regardless, the dual scar sprites will be amazing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, don't read into it. Don't read into it. There's nothing to read here. There is nothing to see.
Doesn't matter.
Leo, shut
Dual
up.
scar, we don't have a dual scar route. That's the twist.
Yeah, the twist is that in the dual score is you're gonna try to click it and it's gonna skip right over to red alert. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really. I remember that
I'm
being a
just curious
joke
if-
for a little bit. I remember that
We
being
had a
joke.
little inside joke in the inner circle chat that there is no dual scar route. What you actually do is you take the clade polycule on a date.
You take a date on top of Dual Scar's corpse.
Yeah,
then-
I'm actually just here as a squatter. I'm sorry.
And then the first part of the GHB's route will just be that comic of stand-up room only, except the reader is there.
The reader is there. Okay.
He's in the crowd
Before we-
laughing.
Yeah. Before we move past this, like, this draft, like, went through a lot of changes just with me reacting to how the other writers carried out their routes because I wanted to avoid getting too repetitive. But the one thing that was always a feature is a fishing trip because I just think that's the role playing was always a feature and the fishing trip was always a feature because both those things are so quintessentially Lejon to me. Like, you've got a cat girl, so A, you're gonna role play with her, and B, she's gonna have you kill an animal with your bare hands. The duality.
There's a question I just saw in chat. Are all the sprites drawn? Yes, they were all drawn, especially the ones with the same idle pose where she's just standing with either her arms on her waist or her arms outstretched. They were all drawn, and I had to be able to do that in a single week because I made myself put out that time limit because I didn't want Leo or cards to take too long having to code that. So I said, well,
And we
I
were-
need to do this fast.
Yeah,
And I did.
We're behind on the die sprites also.
Yeah, we actually had to replace the disciple artist last minute, and Salty came in, like again in a clutch. We've had like a few like speed bumps along the way, and people have always picked up the slack, and it's been great.
Super productive.
Everyone like in general, like everybody like so far we've been working with, and I think everybody like we're gonna work with is just like everybody in this Distantquest team is like, oh, something needs to be done, I'ma do it, and they just like swoop in and do it. It's amazing, and I really admire every single one of you. Like I am not joking. I really enjoy working with you guys. I admire you guys for like the effort and the amount of time you put into this project. It actually
It's an exciting.
Yeah.
It's an exciting project to be on. Like, this is really fun, and it's fun working with you guys, and it's really good.
Yeah, I've mentioned in the development server before that I literally didn't have any plans to stick around after I did the summoner route, but I did because I wanted to see this through. I wanted to see the project through, and also there's someone in chat saying that the face is matching the text of the game. I read Riff's wrote that Disciple was supposed to be very expressive, and I'm hoping that I got through with that.
You
I'm
definitely
hoping I
did.
got that.
You did. It was everything I was secretly hoping for when I drafted the route. Also, I want to talk a little bit about this bad end. My pet peeve is ancestral relationships that don't really have a parallel. And so the biggest pet peeve for me is that Mulin's only significant relationship that we see in Open Bound is with Kurlaz. And while Gamzee and Nepeta don't know each other real well, he does kill her and she does give him his scars, which is like one of the most iconic visuals in Murderstuck. So like the Makaras and Lejons are very connected, and I started wanting to play with this idea of like I wanted to discuss what is the full meaning of a disciple, and like I wanted to play with this idea of Dai having experience with Clown Church before she encountered the Signless, to just kind of answer Mulin's whole thing with Kurlaws and set up for Nepida's whole thing with Gamzee. And also, it would be
Very
off-brand of me to not shove
dramatically
the
irate.
cars everywhere.
I think it works really well.
Thank you.
And then and it's. I mean,
Also, I
they're
love the
dead.
I am I am the only thing I'm sad about when I was coding this is that I originally I was gonna make like more like silhouette sprites that change it like just quick silhouette, so where they're expressing things. And then when the deadline came and I was like, nope, no, you two get like one shadow done. That's it. It's just that.
I think it works.
No, that's so valid. I gave you like 2 OCs that you had to just jam in there on top of Dai.
God.
I mean, I think keeping them silhouettes like that really helps keep the focus on the disciple. Like, this is about her.
Yeah, that was another thing. For the bad end, like, it's important to me that like the first choice is more of a joke to me, but the second choice, it's very much like, are you going to let Dai tell her story to you, or are you going to let other people tell her story for her? So like that choice, when you decide like you're making 2 decisions essentially when you decide to go to the tent. You're deciding A, she probably can't handle finding out what the ending of this is, and B, she might not be right about the cave. Both those assumptions are proved wrong in the good end, and that's why she finally gets to tell her own story to you. Whereas in the bad end, you override her decision-making process and as a result get a narrative told about her instead of her own story. Part player agency, baby.
Yeah.
It's actually a funny recurring theme with like all of the routes so far is like MC meddles a lot, and if they meddle, it normally ends up bad. It's like let the adults have the choice for once,
It's like, we love you, you weird little alien, but like chill out for a bit.
It goes with the theme, like this is a story, and you need to listen to what they have to say, and then you can meddle. But at the beginning, is like, oh yeah, please understand, they have something to tell you, and there is something to learn. And I think MSPA reader does go to the 25 stages of grief with all of these people, like multiple times, just like discovering.
They're so sad all the time.
Yeah, they are.
Just like, yeah.
I don't think any of the ancestors are particularly jovial.
I also think it's just good recompense because everything we know about the Inner Circle is told to us by Doc Scratch, and like, do we really want to let him do that storytelling?
Yeah, they deserve better.
They do.
They deserve.
They really do.
I'm gonna crush Doc Scratch until he's a small brown stain.
Is Doc Scratch going to be in Distantquest?
Tangent.
Crush it to a small brown stain.
Yeah.
We're going to replace Signless on the execution jet.
Tangentially.
God.
That's all I'm
dear
gonna say.
God.
Tangentially.
Just like what 240C in the chat says, fuck Doc Scratch. All my homies hate Doc Scratch.
Yeah. Also, this is one of my favorite sprites. I'm kind of sad I couldn't use it more, but then Disciple gives the book away and he's like, yep, but never mind, it's gone.
I have it as my profile picture right now.
That was a good sprite.
She hides it in her hair.
I was actually supposed to draw this one sprite where she gets the tome from under her pelt, because her design is that she has a wraparound bit of fur around her waist that acts as sort of like a cover for her pouch or like whatever else she keeps on her, like the book and the spare soaper that she used to help with MSPA reader with the readers burns after the rain. There's although I realized that if I kept that, the text box might just cover it up. And another note with the text box is that although it's not seen, I actually had to draw about 3 individual tails for the idle sprites, and then all the dynamic sprites had their own tails drawn on each one. So
They have tails?
We do. You didn't know?
Oh wait, I see it. There they
There
are.
are tails. They change almost every sprite.
Okay, also this is my favorite thing that I got to add is that MSPA Reader now has a little signless cloak, because I love when you get clothes on Fansim, so this is me being like, I can give them clothes now. That's in my power.
Yes.
And he
I can't wait
clothes
for
forever.
his next clothes.
Yeah, this was a dress-up game all along. Just a dress-up sim.
There they are. They're so cute.
They're baby.
They're so baby.
Use D has tails. Use D has tails.
There's a question in chat about everyone having tails. No, I don't think so. But I made it a point to give the disciple her own tail.
Surprised to ask.
We all know that the psionic has 2 tails. That the psionic has 2 tails.
Yeah, he has to.
You just can't see them.
Yeah, 22
Only
tails.
a rat tail.
Oh no!
22.
No.
There's just like an eldritch horror behind his back, and you can't see it.
I only knew he had 22 proxies. I didn't know he had 22 tails.
Oh my god, Naruto.
Alright. We do have some questions like for everybody in the chat, which is a lot of people, but still it's for everybody. There's a questions level for everyone, and it's gonna be very interesting. So let's try to get this through this.
Everyone take off her mic mute.
I was asleep for the very first bit. Were there any questions for the Dolorosa that I didn't get to answer?
Only if you could marry the Dolorosa.
I'm sorry. I'm already married to her. You can't. She's mine.
No, the polycule.
She has 2 hands. 2 hands.
Dolores is married to every lesbian.
I mean, you make a solid point.
When you come out, Rosa just appears at your house, and she's like, "Hello, I am your new government-assigned wife."
I can't believe Miss Dolorosa's gonna pick me up from my home.
You go and you hold hands with the Dolorosa, and it's a really touching moment, and then she just kind of slams you into the ground. Thank you, ma'am.
Takes you grocery shopping as a...
What a service.
Alright.
The Dolorosa gives really good hugs, but only if she trusts
I
she does not fucking trust you.
First question, and it's a little unrelated, but yeah, what's everyone in this team favorite ancestor and troll? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, welcome to hell, everybody.
Should we go from the top?
Sigh. Yeah, from the top, from the top to the bottom.
All right, Birdie, go ahead.
My favorite ancestor is handmade, and my favorite souls are all the Megados. Any Megado. I love the Ram girls. I love the spooky soul girl. That's all.
Beautiful.
Okay. My favorite ancestor and troll overall is the Dolorosa. This has been established by 5 years of fuckery and roleplay, and I love her with all of my heart. I don't have anything else to say. She's the best. Forum is also a really great Beforean character, and I wish that the Beforest characters weren't all horrendous jokes. The floor is now yours, Goblin.
Oh god. Favorite ancestor. I'm sorry to be betray everybody. It's psionic.
Hell yeah.
Favorite ancestor. Matsuna, favorite character all around. Psionic. I can't. I wish I didn't have the brain worm.
Psionic brain worm.
This might come as a surprise to y'all, but my favorite ancestor and troll is the psionic. Crazy like that. But if I had to pick a second, it would be the handmaid and also all of the inner circle. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. See, favorite ancestor Sai, favorite ancestor Kankri, favorite troll overall is Eridan. I am very sorry. I am an Eridan liker. I am sorry the director of your game is an Eridan liker. I apologize. I will be better. I promise. I'll get better.
We love Eridan.
My favorite ancestor to make fun of is Dual Scar. Favorite Dancestor, again, to make fun of is Cronus, but to, like, I think in general, like, I do like Kankri a lot.
Yay.
And and then favorite Beta Troll would be Akius, because I'm that guy, yeah.
Cancelled.
I guess for me is my favorite ancestors are tied between Psionic and Handmaid. Favorite before and troll is probably either Mina or Dramara, and then favorite beta troll is Karkat.
For me, I think my favorite ancestor is Red Glare, and my favorite Dancestor is Kankri, and my favorite troll is Terezi.
So my favorite ancestor was not Dai starting out, but she has kind of become so by virtue of just spending so much time thinking about her. I also like the Grand High Blood. Favorite Dancestor is Mina, and favorite beta is Gamzee. I'm wearing a Gamzee shirt right now. I love him so much. Griff be like clowns indeed.
This is Robin. My favorite ancestor is the Signless. My favorite Dancestor is Kankri, and my favorite troll is Kankri. But if that question meant beta troll, I could just list half of them. But my favorite decidedly used to be Aradia and Tavros before I started appreciating just everyone else more.
Valid.
So my favorite ancestor has gotta be Dual Scar for sure. Dancestor is Latula. I love Latula. And like I feel like she's kind of doesn't really show up. Oh, I haven't introduced myself. It's Caitlin, round and talented. But Latula doesn't get a lot of rep in fandom, and I love Latula, so like #1 stan over here. But my favorite beta troll, and everybody always expects me to say Eridan, but it's Solux. I love Solux Captor.
Oh,
betrayal.
The scene.
This is salty. Trying to be a little bit more quiet right now, but my favorite ancestor is actually a tie between the handmaid and the disciple. Honestly, my favorite before and troll is Damara actually, and well, it's a tie between Damara and Betuna. So my favorite beta troll, however, will forever be Solux. He's my favorite. So.
As baby says, I'm a slut for everything.
So my favorite ancestor is probably Redglare, because all of her appearances and the art in the flashes, like Terezi owns it's so good, so badass. And my favorite ancestor is probably it's Porim by far, And favorite beta troll tie between Aradia and Kanaya. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Lex. I'm the Grand High Blood writer. If you can't tell who my favorite ancestor is, it's the Grand High Blood. And my favorite ancestor, Kurlos. And my favorite beta troll, I don't know. I think it's Gamzee. I'm just all clowns. I don't fucking like. I mean, I don't. You know, I'm just. My username's Twonk. I'm just clowns. I don't do anything else. I'm just here for clown content. I'm here to provide that's it. I'm just clowns. Oh, don't fuck. I mean, don't frickin'.
You've been swearing this whole stream. It's over. Yeah.
So, I don't. I'm sorry. I swear a lot. It's my only personality trait besides being a clown.
At least you're consistent.
Yeah. It's only clowns here. I'd grab my clown horn, but it's like 50 inches away, and I don't want to reach for it.
It's fine. I have mine. Like it's actually funny.
Yeah. Clown rights. Grand High Blood's the best ancestor.
I agree to disagree. All right, Wiz.
Okay, so hi, I'm Wiz. I'm the Darkleer writer, and
Hell yeah.
obviously, yeah, my favorite
Darkleer
ancestor. Yeah, it's Darkleer. I love Darkleer.
Yes,
he's an idiot. He's great. I think writing him has made me fall in love with him about how much of an idiot he is. So yeah,
He's like my second
ancestor's
favorite.
good.
So mood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would say that my favorite before troll, I'm gonna say it, is Kankri, because I love him. Because he, you know, I read all his fucking, all his, yeah, I know he vibes with me. I like him. He's my boy. Now favorite beta troll, that's gonna be hard. I would say it's a mix between Ecrius or Gamzee.
Yes.
And
yeah, pretty much.
This is your chance now because we are past the time.
Okay.
So like, babe,
I'll speak really quick.
we're past time.
Go, babe, go.
My name is B, and I really like the pirates a lot, a little too much actually. I now own all the skill mates, but I guess my favorite ancestor is definitely Regular. I've been RPing that bitch for like the past 3 years consecutively. So, she's just a funky little lizard, you know.
Discovering that half of the writers are just being RP in their favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get? How else
This
do you
is a
get,
call
like,
out. This is
good
a
at
call
it, you know.
Sorry?
You're great at it. Shut up.
To be fair, I have to give a lot of my Regular props to Lex because he helped me a lot with Regular.
Yeah.
He's probably my best like little test hamster when it comes to doing Regular shit.
I am in fact a hamster.
Oh shit, Mickey, you got competition. Alright, before we are way over the time, so thanks everybody for coming to the panel. Thanks to everybody to join the call. We're gonna be ending it like very soon. If we didn't get to your questions, I will, which is a lie. We did get to all the questions, so we get.
At least we hope so.
Yeah. We get. There is a few that I will answer on the Curious Cat because it's more like, hey, Deptine, hi, you know, shit like that. So it's like, so it's fine. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks everybody for being here, even though it's 3 a.m. over your time zones.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're gonna be ending it now, and enjoy SAHCON. Have a nice day.